Hello, hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the channel. And today we are testing some mid to small size Bluetooth speakers. We are testing the budget bass boost speaker, which is the Anker Soundcore Boost, almost 2 years old. And we have the Bose SoundLink Flex, which is also a few years old, but this is the second generation, so it's the newest version of it with supposedly improved components. What we will do is we will listen to the usual songs, we will compare the way they sound, and we will give the final considerations and discuss whether the 140 plus euros or dollars are justified over a 70 euros plus or dollars budget speaker, which is no longer so budget. Anker has evolved a lot, has improved a lot. The newer Anker lines are much better, also aesthetically, design wise. But anyways, let's do the test and let's see what happens. Now, final considerations time. And I have to tell you, these speakers, in all honesty, they sound pretty similar. Not in terms of sound signature, but overall as sound quality and sound range of frequencies. As you probably know, the Bose has its own signature, specific signature, which flattens the dynamics of the music. So it compresses the music a bit, and so it boosts the lower bass and the treble. In some way, it pushes the mids further out. So when you listen to it, compared to other speakers or to most speakers, I would say, especially the vocals, the voices, and the mid-range instruments, they sound a bit further from you. You know, they sound distant. They don't sound so so present as with speakers that have a more mid-range kind of tone, like the Anker Soundcore Boost, which does have a better mid-range in terms of presence and in terms of voice. It kinds of lean towards the bassiness, so the boominess. So it's not a perfect sound by any means, but it does feel like the music, the sounds are a bit less flat, especially because lately the new songs, the new music is already so much compressed when it comes out of mastering that it feels like the Bose is pushing the sound over a limit of flatness and compression that might not be so pleasant anymore. Maybe it used to be a good sound profile, sound signature a few years ago, where music was much more dynamic and it had less compression compared to these days. So if you listen to like old hip hop songs, classics, the Bose will sound great because it will give you more power, a sense of bigger sound when it comes to the old hip hop classics and hip hop songs, because they were not as compressed and as crazy compressed as music these days. Now, if you don't know what it means, compression with music, I clearly understand that. It's just basically a way to reduce the dynamic range of the music so that you can have a higher volume, a louder song at the expense of dynamics of the song, of the different instruments. So, overall considerations, would I recommend a Bose over a 70 or 80, half the price, Anker Soundcore Boost? And we have to keep in mind these are extremely portable speakers. So if you're interested in a speaker of this size, you know that you will have to sacrifice some sound quality for the size, for the portability, extreme portability, I would say. So you will not be surprised when they will lack a bit of lower bass and bass body and bass presence, which is the case for both of them. Of course, they are very small and they can't reproduce the lower frequencies, especially when it comes to hip hop songs. Now, when it comes to EDM or dance music or trance music or these kind of kick and bass heavy songs, again, the Bose sounds a bit overcompressed. The treble, the highs are a bit too much. They're a bit too much because the mids are squeezed and you can't hear so much the voices and the mid instruments. So the Boost on its side has the good price, the way lower price. The portability is almost the same. The type of materials are very similar. It's kind of a rubber plastic that makes it easy to clean, or anyways very compact, doesn't have anything that could possibly break, and it has a bass which is sometimes bigger than the Bose, but only because it has a bass up function, by the way. But this bass in these EDM songs or dance songs is only bigger because it kind of pushes it into the high bass frequencies and low mids. So it feels a bit like a bigger bass, but it's also a bit muddier in terms of sound. So it is a budget speaker. This is not a budget speaker, but the signature sound for me just makes things too flat. So with these two, I unfortunately have to recommend the Soundcore Boost because it's half the price, because the sound is a tiny bit more dynamic. The bass is decent for this size. The bass is very decent on on the Soundcore Boost, although I would like a bit more highs, a bit more clarity. But hey, we can't have everything. 70 or 80 euros for this speaker is very good deal in my opinion, still to this day. And yeah, sorry Bose, I love Bose, but the sound just gets too flat these days with these songs. Anyways, enough ranting. Thank you for watching. I hope you had a good glimpse of their sound, and see you in the next video.